The cold winds howled outside Dome Station 7, a lonely shelter far from the main colony. Inside, Callan worked quietly, fixing a broken heater panel. Was a human engineer, tall, rough-bearded, living alone for the last 3 years. He liked silence. Silence didn't argue, didn't betray, and didn't cry. But tonight, the silence broke. Bang, bang, bang. The sound came from the outer hatch. A weak knock, like someone had barely enough strength left. Callan froze. No one ever came. Here. His dome was off-grid, hidden behind the jagged ice cliffs of Riven Moon. The knock came again, softer this time. He stood up slowly and walked to the security panel. A fuzzy camera feed showed a blurry figure kneeling outside in the snowstorm. The figure was small, trembling, clearly not human. Another lost alien, he muttered. He hesitated. Opening the hatch was dangerous. Could be a trap, could be sickness, could be trouble. But then, through the intercom, came a voice broken. Weak female, please, don't leave me here. That was all it took. Callan slammed his fist on the unlock pad. The hatch hissed open. Cold wind burst into the dome, biting his face. And then she collapsed into his arms. The alien woman was thin, fragile-looking. Her skin was light lavender, glowing faintly under the ice dust. Her hair, long and tangled, was the color of dark silver. She wore a thin, torn dress, not made for cold weather. Her lips moved. I'll bear your offspring. Just don't throw me out. Callan blinked. What? She shivered violently. Please, just let me stay. Look down at her trembling body. She was barefoot, bleeding from her ankle. No weapon, no strength, no lie in her voice. Without another word, he carried her inside, sealing the hatch behind them. He placed her gently on a heated cot and covered her with a thermal blanket. Her eyes fluttered open bright, sea-green eyes, filled with fear. I'm not going to hurt you, Callan said. She nodded slowly. I ran. They were going to sell me again. I had nowhere else to go. Who were they? She winced. Slavers. Zern Syndicate. They buy females. For breeding. Callan's face darkened. He'd heard stories. Whole planets raided. Women treated like animals. Sold. Used. Forgotten. And what did you mean back there? He asked. About bearing offspring. She looked away. It's what they trained us to say, we were told. If caught or found, offer your body. That's how you survive. Her voice cracked. I'm not asking you to touch me. I just didn't want to die out there. Callan stared at her for a long moment. Then he stood and brought her a bowl of hot protein soup. Eat. No one's using you here. She hesitated, then took it with shaking hands. Thank you. What's your name? He asked. Vera, Callan. She gave a tiny nod. Her hands gripped the bowl tightly, soaking in the warmth. Why were you out there alone? He asked. They moved us to another camp, she said, pausing to drink. But one of the guards left a door open. I escaped. They'll be looking for me. Callan rubbed his jaw. You're lucky. Most people wouldn't have heard you knocking. She looked up, her eyes soft. I didn't think anyone would answer. Hours passed. Vera slept peacefully, curled beneath the blanket like a frightened child. Callan sat by the scanner, watching the outside screen. Snow whirled across the landscape. No signs of movement, but something about this felt off. He pulled up the signal. Logs. Their 3 days a go-on-odd transmission had passed near his sector. Short, encrypted, unregistered. He thought nothing of it then. Now, he wasn't so sure. Maybe someone had already started looking for her. He turned to glance at her. Veyra shifted in her sleep. One hand resting on her belly. That's when he noticed it. A slight curve. Not enough to show fully, but enough to suggest she was already pregnant. The wind outside grew stronger. The scanner beeped softly. New blip appeared, moving slow, coming from the west. Callan stood. Another ship. Too low to be a trader. Too fast to be a patrol? He stared at the screen. Someone's coming, he whispered. then turned to look at the sleeping alien woman who had begged for mercy and unknowingly brought danger straight to his door. Asterisk the night outside Dome Station. 7 was quiet, but the screen wasn't. The blip was getting closer. Callan stared at it, its fingers hovering above the command panel. It wasn't broadcasting an ID. No name, no registry. That was a red flag. Okay, only criminals or hunters flew silent. Inside the dome, the heater hummed softly. Vera was still asleep on the cot, wrapped in thermal blankets. But she twitched now and then, whispers escaping her lips in a language Callan didn't understand. The scanner pinged again. The ship had landed. He grabbed his tool belt, strapping a magnetic wrench and a pulse cutter to his side. He didn't have military weapons, just old engineering gearbutt in the right hands. Even tools could protect. Then he turned to the sleeping alien girl. "Vera," he said, soft but firm. "Wake up." She flinched awake, sitting up quickly, eyes wide. "It's okay," Callan said. "You're safe. For now." "For now," she echoed, her voice small. "There's a ship. No ID. Just landed near the ridge. Did anyone follow you?" Her face lost all color. "They found me." Callan crouched beside her. "Who are they?" She swallowed hard. "Zern bounty unit. They tracked escapees." "Tracked how?" She hesitated. "I have something in me. A chip. They said it was biosignal insurance. I didn't think it still worked." Callan's hands curled into fists. "Where is it?" Spine left side. "I can feel it. Sometimes it burns when they're close." He stood. "We have to take it out." Her eyes widened. "That's dangerous." "So is dying." Minutes later, Callan dragged his old Medrone out of storage. It was dusty, slightly dented, but its arms still moved with precision. He wiped off the display and powered it on. Vera sat on the exam bench, clutching the blanket tight. The fabric barely covered her knees, but she didn't seem to care. Her body shook not from cold this time, but fear. "I've never done this," she said softly. "Not surgery? You trust me?" Callan asked. She looked into his eyes. "I don't have anyone else." He nodded. "Lie down. This might hurt." The Medrone scanned her spine. A red dot blinked on the screen. Callan zoomed in. There it was. Tiny, metallic, sitting beside her nerve cluster. "Small enough to kill, if handled wrong," he whispered. He pulled on his gloves and adjusted the drone's microtool arm. "You ready?" he asked. "No," she said, voice trembling, "but do it anyway." The room filled with a faint hum. The drone's tooltip glowed blue as it moved slowly toward the chip. Callan guided it manually. Sweat formed on his brow. One wrong move, and she'd be paralyzed. Worse. Vera bit down on her sleeve to keep. "From screaming? You're doing great," he said. "Just hold still." Her body jerked slightly as the tool touched nerve. Callan froze. The chip pulsed red for a second. Then it detached. He dropped it into a metal tray and hit the sterilize command. "Done," he breathed. She gasped for air, tears in her eyes. But she smiled just a little. "You did it," she whispered. He nodded. "Offline, but the danger isn't?" Suddenly, the lights dimmed. The heater flickered. Then came a low humming sound, like something charging outside. Callan ran to the scanner. The ship had deployed a signal jammer. Dome Station 7 was now blind. "No coms, no outside scans." "They know you're here," he said. "They want you alive?" Vera stood, holding the wall. "They want the baby," she whispered. Callan's head snapped toward her. "The baby?" She touched her stomach gently. "It's not just mine. It's part of a genetic line they engineered. Royal blood. Ancient code. They want it back." Callan shook his head. "You should have told me sooner. I didn't think I'd survive long enough for it to matter." Voice boomed outside. "Robotic, cold, Dome Station 7U are harboring property of the Zern Syndicate. Surrender the female? No harm will come to you." Vera backed away, clutching the blanket tighter. "I'm not property," she whispered. "Not anymore." Callan turned off the lights inside. Shadows filled the dome. He walked to the cabinet and pulled out an old mining rifle, rusted, but still deadly at close range. "You're safe with me," he said. "But you're just one man," she said. Callan stared into her eyes. "That's all it takes. If the man refuses to bow—" Boom! The hatch shook again. Metal groaned. Bolts creaked. The next blast might tear it open. Inside the dome, the lights stayed off. Callan crouched near the entrance, rifle in hand. He knew this dome better than anyone. Every pipe, every vent, every weak point. But nothing was built to withstand bounty explosives. Vera sat low behind a metal cabinet, hugging her knees, heart racing. Her lavender skin was pale with fear. She whispered, "They won't stop until they take me." "Then I'll stop them first," Callan replied without looking back. Another thud shook the structure. Dust fell from the ceiling vents, then silence. No. Footsteps, no wind, just silence. Vera leaned closer. "What are they doing?" Callan didn't answer. Was listening, really listening. In that silence, he heard it. His SS gas. From the ventilation, he cursed and ran to the main vent control. They're pumping knockout mist into the air. He yanked open a side panel, ripped out the filters, and dumped a neutralizing agent inside. Vera coughed. "I can't breathe. What is this?" "Modified sleep gas. Industrial grade. To knock you out cold in seconds?" She pulled her blanket up over her mouth, panicked. "They know I'm pregnant. They'll take me alive. That means you, ... They'll kill you." Callan didn't blink. "Let them try." He turned, grabbed a shock mine from the tool drawer, and planted it at the base of the hatch. "If they break through, they'll get a surprise," he said. "Buy us 30 seconds. That's not enough to escape." "I know," he said calmly, "but it's enough to choose where to die." Suddenly, the emergency speaker crackled. A voice, deep, calm, mechanical, echoed through the dome. "Human male. Step aside. She belongs to the Zern Syndicate. This is not your war." Callan walked to the comm panel and pressed the talk button. "Then why bring one to my door?" Silence. Then the voice returned, colder. "You are defending stolen property. It makes you a target." "She's not property," Callan said. "She's a person, and she's under my roof now, and you will die under it." The moment he released the button, the hatch exploded inward. The shock mine detonated crack. A flash of blue light lit the dome. Screams followed. Callan ducked. Rolled, fired once, boom. Dropped the first armored soldier as they stormed through the smoke. The others didn't slow down. He shouted, "Vera, run to the back tunnel." But she didn't move. Instead, she stood arms, shaking eyes glowing faintly. Her hair drifted upward like something unseen was pulling it. Callan saw her glow and shouted, "What are you doing?" "I won't let them take you," she whispered. And then everything stopped. Time didn't freeze, but it slowed. The soldiers moved sluggishly. Their voices turned to echoes. Callan's heartbeat pounded in his ears like thunder. Vera stepped forward, barefoot on the cold metal floor, and lifted one hand. A pulse of soft violet light burst from her palm. It passed through Callan harmlessly but hit the soldiers like a shockwave. Their helmets cracked, armor plates peeled. They dropped twitching, unconscious every last one. Then Vera collapsed. Callan caught her before she hit the floor. Her nose bled. Her breath was shallow. She tried to speak but only managed too much. Callan laid her on the cot and pressed a cloth to her head. "What was that?" he whispered. She blinked slowly. "You weren't supposed to see." "Wait." "What?" Vera turned her head to look at him. Her voice was weak but steady. "My kind, we were made.
Not born.
We were built to carry something ancient. I can barely control it, but if they take me, they'll force it out." "Force what out?" Her hand moved to her stomach. "The spark." Callan's eyes narrowed. "What spark?" "One that can restart an empire." Alarms lit up again, not from the inside but from above. Callan looked at the scanner. Another ship, bigger, faster. It wasn't landing. It was preparing to fire. He grabbed Vera and carried her toward the escape tunnel. "We've got minutes before they vaporize this whole dome." But the soldiers, they're not our problem now. He placed her gently into the tunnel pod, strapped her in, and activated the rail sequence. This tunnel goes to miles west, toward the old cum tower. I'll follow on foot.
How?
She whispered. Come with me now, please. But Callan shook his head. If I don't stall them, they'll chase your pod. She grabbed his hand, tears falling. Don't let them kill you. Callan leaned in close. I won't die, he said softly. I've got something to fight for now. Then he hit the launch button. The pod shot away into the darkness. He turned, gripping his old rifle tight, and faced the broken hatch. Asterisk Vera's. Escape pod rushed through the narrow tunnel fast, silent, cold. She lay back in the seat, breathing hard, her body still shaking from the energy pulse she had released. Her skin glowed dimly, flickering like dying starlight. She touched her stomach. The baby was still. That scared her more than any bounty hunter. Hold on, she whispered, please. Then she felt it, a soft kick. Her chest filled with relief. Her child lived, but she didn't know for how long. Outside the pod's window, darkness streaked past. Dust and ice blurred the view. The escape route would end at the old communications tower abandoned long ago. If it still had power, she could call for help. But even that was a fading hope. Her head dropped back. Her thoughts turned to Callan. She had begged him to run with her, and he had stayed behind. For her. For the child, no one had ever done that. Back in Dome Station 7, Callan wasn't hiding. He stood beside the fusion core, sweat dripping from his forehead, wiring together. Power surge trap. If the enemy ship blasted the dome, he had a gift waiting for them, energy spike strong, enough to fry short-range sensors. He knew he might not survive it, but Vera would. He closed the panel, secured the circuit, and looked up just as the new squad of armored bounty hunters stormed through the hatch, still standing. One of them sneered through his helmet. Callan smirked. Long enough. They raised weapons. So did he. Meanwhile, Vera's pod docked inside the ruined cum tower. She climbed out slowly, holding her belly. Her bare feet touched frozen metal. The place was dead. Rusted rails, broken screens. But somehow, power still hummed deep in the walls. She followed the sound, her head pounding, her vision blurring. Then she found it. A small med station built into the wall. Old Earth tech. She pressed her palm against the surface. The scanner activated. Biological identity. Unknown. DNA pattern. Incomplete. Alert. Anomalous human genetic strand detected. Vera gasped. She touched the screen again. Show me. A hologram appeared. It showed 2 strands of DNA. One alien, one human merged, not in the child, in her. No, that's not possible, she whispered. Her people had always believed the humans were just violent colonists, that they came, conquered, and vanished. But this proved otherwise. Inside her blood, deep in her own body, was ancient Terran DNA. Hidden, dormant, buried like a secret waiting to wake up, and the baby growing inside her. It was awakening that spark. That was why Zern wanted it. It's not for control. For power. Back in the dome, Callan's world exploded in color. The bounty. Hunters fired first 3 plasma bursts that hit the floor near his feet. He dived, rolled, fired his rifle, knocking one of them down. The trap system blinked green. He ran to the fuse core and hit the override. Power surged through the walls. Sparks flew. The dome shook as lights flickered and circuits popped. The enemy. Ship above screamed warnings. Danger! Overload and unstable energy detected. The leader of the squad shouted, He's going to fry the ship. Get out. But Callan wasn't done. He tossed a surge coil grenade toward the hatch. Tell Zern this girl isn't theirs anymore. Boom. The blast threw the hunters back out the door. The rest scrambled for cover. He didn't stay to watch them run. He grabbed his bag, slammed the tunnel door open, and dove in. Back at the cum tower, Vera stared at the scanner. The human blood inside her wasn't random. It was engineered, inserted generations ago by scientists who had disappeared. She wasn't just an escapee. She Was the missing key to something lost long ago? A voice came from the system. Genetic pattern matches. Project Sparkfire. She blinked. What is that? The screen showed files broken, corrupted, but one sentence remained clear. If reactivated through natural fusion, Sparkfire may rebirth the Terran flame. Suddenly she understood. She wasn't only carrying a child. She was carrying the restart code for an ancient human legacy. And if Zern got it, they wouldn't use it for peace. They'd build a throne from it. The tunnel door opened behind her. She turned fast, ready to defend. But it was Callan covered. In burns, coughing, limping, he fell to one knee, then looked up and grinned. Miss me? She ran to him, helped him to his feet. You're hurt, I'm alive, and so are you. She wrapped her arms around him. She didn't care if he was bruised or bloody. He came back. You stayed, she whispered. I told you, I've got something to fight for now. The cold wind howled outside the broken cum tower, but inside, warmth flickered to life. Callan lay stretched on a thin bunk, his shoulder wrapped in a thermal bandage. His shirt was torn, skin burned, but his eyes were full of focus, not pain. Vera sat beside him, her hand resting on his. Her skin still glowed faintly from the Sparkfire revelation. She hadn't told him everything yet, not about the human code inside her or what the baby might become. Not yet. He had risked his life to protect her without even knowing the truth. And now, truth or not, they were running out of time. From above, in the silent clouds, the monarch vessel arrived. It didn't roar. It didn't flash. Just appeared. Huge. Black. Smooth. Blocking out the stars. It was Zern's Royal-class warship. Inside its command deck, a tall alien in red gold armor stared down at the surface. Target confirmed, he said. Begin siege preparation. We don't kill her. We capture her and erase the man. His voice was calm. Too calm. The bridge officer spoke. Sir, should we prepare the mine cradle for extraction? He smiled. No need. If the child is what we think, it will come willingly. It's programmed to obey. Back in the tower, Callan worked on restoring power to the defense grid. The old cum station had turrets, satellite uplinks, even an old laser battery. It was trying to wake the ghosts of Earth's tech, give them one last roar. Vera paced behind. Her energy returned. But so did something else. Fear she hadn't felt since she escaped the camps. She finally spoke. I need to tell you something. Callan didn't stop working. Go on. She walked closer. I'm not just someone they used. I'm part of something bigger. I didn't know until now, but I carry human code in my blood. Deep code. Ancient, from before your people vanished. From this sector, Callan looked up slowly. What does that mean? She hesitated. It means this child could restart a flame your ancestors left behind. A program, a weapon, a legacy. They called it Sparkfire. You're saying my people planned something with your people? Yes, she said. Zern doesn't want me because I'm a slave. They want me because I'm a switch. Callan stepped closer. Then we give them nothing. Her voice shook. They'll come with everything. Callan turned to the wall screen. He pointed up. They already have. The sky split open with a thunderless roar. The monarch vessel sent down 3 black drop pods. They punched into the frozen ground like metal fangs. From each pod, tall armored soldiers marched glowing red visors. Shoulder cannons and energy nets designed for live capture. Vera froze. These aren't bounty hunters, she whispered. These are royal binders. Callan grabbed his pulse cutter and tightened his tool belt. I don't care if they're royal kings, he growled. They're not taking you. The tower's old defense room, Callan activated the turrets. Lights came on green, barely. Holding power. 2 turrets left, he said. Third one's fried. That won't stop them, Vera said. I know, Callan said. But it'll slow them. They looked at each other. I need you to promise something, she said. If they get me, if they pull me away, don't chase. He frowned. Why? Because if Sparkfire fully awakens while I'm near them, they'll use it. Control the power even your people buried. He walked closer and took her hand. Then I'll make sure they never get close enough. Outside, the binders approached, slow, careful, coordinated. They weren't rushing. They didn't need to. They believed the tower was already theirs. But then bang. The first turret opened fire, ripping through ice and armor. The lead binder fell. Another duct rolled, fired back. Callan took position at the east window, firing down with his old mining rifle, but the binders kept coming. One fire to shock Lancy Zizia caned, hit the power relay. The turret sparked and died. Vera stepped forward. No more hiding. She placed her hand on the floor. Her glow returned brighter than ever. Power lines under the tower lit up, reacting to her touch. Old Earth Tech remembered her, recognized her. The walls hummed with warmth and electricity. Callan watched in awe. You're activating the spark. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. It's not just in me. It knows you too. He blinked. What? She smiled faintly. You have spark fire in your blood too. It only woke because you protected me. It chose you. Outside, the remaining turret came alive, firing without command. The tower's satellite dish turned toward the sky, sending a signal one not seen in centuries, from far across the stars. Something answered asterisk above Riven Moon. The stars shimmered, then flickered, then shifted.
Space twisted silently like
a ripple moving through black water, the sparkfire. Beacon had been heard, and something ancient was waking. Back in the ruined tower, Callan stood beside Vera, both staring at the control screen. Signal had been sent, but they didn't know who or what might answer. Outside, the Zern Royal Binders tightened formation. Their leader, Commander Theric, stared at the tower through his helmet visor. His voice came through the comms. They've activated the beacon. Prepare containment drones. We don't destroy the tower, we'd lock it down and extract her alive. The soldiers moved like shadows across the ice, ignoring the damaged turrets, weaving between shattered metal and fire. Inside, Callan reloaded his old mining rifle, every movement slow, deliberate. He didn't speak much now. He was past fear. He was past doubt. He had chosen his side. Vera sat beside the main console, her hands still glowing faintly. They're coming. Fast, I know, he said. We'll slow them again. She looked up at him. You should leave. There's still time? He didn't even glance her way. I didn't stay behind to run later. Her voice cracked. You could die. He placed a hand on her shoulder. Then I'll die doing something worth it. Outside, a sudden burst of blue light streaked across the sky. A new ship entered the atmosphere, not Zern, not Colony Standard. It was dark silver, shaped like a spearhead. With glowing rings of energy spinning around it, it didn't land. It hovered, silent, watching. Commander Theric shouted, "Unknown vessel. Prepare to intercept." But before they could fire, the alien ship sent out a shockwave, not explosive, not destructive, just soundless light. One by one. Zern's targeting systems failed. Their guns powered down. Their drones stopped moving. Their HUDs filled with static. Inside the tower, Vera gasped. That ship? I've seen it before, in my dreams. Callan narrowed his eyes. It answered your call. It's not from my people, she whispered. It's older, human, but not like Earth humans. It's something older than history. A deep voice echoed through the towers, comsystemmail.com, and filled with strange weight. Carrier of the spark, you are seen. You are safe. The flame remembers. Callan looked at Vera. They're talking to you. Vera stood slowly. No, us. The control screen lit up with symbols, glowing, ancient, written in old Terran code. Callan couldn't read it, but somehow he understood it. The spark fire inside him had awakened. The tower now pulsed with shared energy, Vera's blood. Callan's will, the unborn child's connection, all tied to the ship above. Zern forces regrouped fast. Commander Theric roared through the comms, regain control, prepare boarding charges. But nothing responded. Not their guns, not their drones, not even their ship. It had gone silent. Shut down by the spark. one soldier shouted. They're overriding our systems, everything's going dark, Theric snarled. Fine, then we do this the old way. He pulled a plasma blade from his hip, pointed toward the tower, and marched forward with his squad behind him. Callan watched them approach. They're coming anyway. Vera turned toward the door, her skin now glowing bright white blue. They don't fear tech. Let's show them something else. Her body trembled. She stepped forward, bare feet on cold metal. She raised her hand, and then something impossible happened. The child inside her not yet born spoke, not with words, with light. A pulse of energy shot through Vera's chest and out her hand. The windows blew outward. The walls of the tower hummed like a living heart. Callan fell to one knee, shielding his eyes. The energy wasn't burning. It was remembering. He saw flashes in his mind of Earth cities in the stars, fleets of silver, ships, men and women who carried the spark and tamed the void. He saw the end of that age, and now saw its rebirth. Outside, the Zern troops froze, their armor dimmed. Their weapons refused to work. Commander Theric stepped forward alone, blade in hand. I don't care what you are, he growled. You're coming with me. We reached the front steps, and Callan stepped out to meet him. No more, Callan said. His voice carried across the wind. Theric raised his blade. You're just a man. Callan didn't move. The sky above rumbled. The silver ship shifted, its rings aligning, and then it spoke again. You're wrong. He is the flame's first shield. A beam of golden light shot from the ship and enveloped Callan. His body didn't change, but something inside him did. Theric hesitated. That was all the time Callan needed. Crack.
Ah!
With a single blow from his energy-forged fist, Callan shattered the commander's blade. Theric stumbled back. You're not human, he hissed. Callan's eyes glowed faintly. Not anymore. The stars no longer looked distant. They looked alive. As the silver ship descended, glowing softly like a falling moon, the wind over Riven Moon went still. Snow stopped mid-air. Time itself seemed to pause. Callan stood at the base of the come. Tower, fists clenched, body still warm from the golden beam that had wrapped him moments ago. He didn't know what had changed inside him, but he felt it. No fear, no doubt, just purpose. Behind him, Vera stepped out slowly, her eyes wide. Her skin glowed with pale light, and her steps left shimmering prints on the frozen floor. The child inside her was quiet now, but not weak. The spark wasn't just awake. It was watching. The silver ship touched down without a sound. Its ramp lowered. From the glow stepped a figure wrapped in shifting armor that looked like moving liquid metal. It had no face, no weapons, no name, just presence. The figure spoke without speaking. Its voice came through the air, the ice, the very bones of the earth. The flame has tested you.
Ow.
The beacon answered. Now the choice remains. Callan stepped forward. What choice? The figure turned toward Vera. The child she carries is Sparkfire's return. It will shape what comes next. War or peace. Bond or rule. You, Callan, must decide who guides it. Vera's breath caught. Why him? Figure tilted its head. Because the child will follow its protector. And the child saw him first. Callan looked at Vera. I don't understand. I'm no soldier. I'm no chosen one. I'm just a guy who fixed broken things. The figure's voice was calm. Exactly. That's why you were chosen. You build, not destroy. Vera reached for his hand. You're more than what you were. He held her fingers tightly. And you gave me something to protect. From the ridge behind them, a broken soldier limped forward, Commander. Theric burned, defeated, eyes wild. He raised a plasma pistol with shaking hands. If I can't have the child, no one will. The figure didn't move. Callan stepped between. Theric and Vera again. Theric fired. The bolt of plasma flew and stopped mid-air, frozen in golden light. The spark had answered again. The figure whispered, "You would destroy a future you cannot control," Theric screamed. But before he could fire again, a beam of silver wrapped him, lifted him, turned his weapon to dust. Then silence. Callan turned toward the silver ship. "So what now? We just go with you," the figure's tone softened. "No, the spark is not ours to own. It is Earth's legacy, and Earth is yours." Callan blinked. "Earth, but it's gone. Lost centuries ago." "No," the figure said, "only forgotten. Its fire sleeps beneath the clouds. But your choice will decide whether it burns again." Vera stepped forward. "Then I choose. I want this child to live free, to be loved, not raised by soldiers or syndicates." The figure turned to her. "Then raise it with the one who stood for you." She looked at Callan, he looked back at her, and for the first time, she didn't feel like a runaway, a captive, or a tool. She felt like a mother, and Heel like a guardian. The silver ship's hull began to open, revealing a round chamber of light. Inside was no throne, no machine, no. Just a cradle floating, pulsing softly with energy. A symbol appeared above it, an ancient mark once used by humans. Before they vanished from the stars, a flame held by two hands. Vera felt her child move. Not just kicking, reaching. The figure nodded. "Enter if you choose. The spark fire will bond, will guide its growth. Teach it balance, and it will remember." Callan looked to the stars. The galaxy had hunted this woman like an object. Now she would carry the next age, he whispered. "We go together." Vera smiled through tears. "We started this in a storm. We'll walk into the light." Hand in hand, they stepped into the silver ship, into the chamber of spark fire, into the heart of what humanity left behind. Not as victims, not as fugitives, but as parents to the future, far above, watching from deep scanners. Hundreds of old Terran satellites blinked online for the first time in centuries. Buried code. Awoke, forgotten systems whispered. Sparkfire protocol engaged. Terran line detected. Awaiting guidance. One final message pulsed across the stars. Reaching the lost corners of colonized space, humanity has returned, not as conquerors, but as keepers of the flame. And in the silence between galaxies, where empires once fell, a child was born, carried by an alien mother, protected by a human man, and the stars began to watch again.